Welcome to the playback. Get myself in here. Okay. Oh, goodness. Hey guys, let me pull myself up here. Okay. Let's share this really quick. I'm gonna ink a pillowcase. As you're coming in, say hey. I wasn't sure I was coming on tonight. About 7 o'clock I came down with a really bad headache. Took something for it, and finally it's still kind of there, but it's manageable. But I have this all ready to do. So I want to show you guys how easy it is to ink on things too. I know some of you have already seen it, but some of you haven't. So I'm going to go over the things that we need for that and kind of give you what the difference is between ink and chalk. But let me share this really quick because I cannot do two things at one time. And I'm not ashamed to say it. Okie dokie. So if I get you guys to kind of share this around, drop the video around for other people to see, that'd be great. I would appreciate that. But tonight we are going to ink on this canvas pillowcase. It is an 18 by 18 Chalk Couture pillowcase. You get 2 in a pack. You can get those on my website. They're fairly thick, but yet they're soft enough so when you lay on them, they're not like hard or they're not scratchy. They're a nice, soft, thicker canvas material. This is a inking mat. It is an 18 by 18, so it fits inside the pillowcase perfectly. And then we are going to do this. Of course, it's a 18 by 18 transfer. You don't have to use an 18 by 18 transfer. You can use any transfer in these, but we're going to do the ABC. And we are going to, hi Terry. We are going to use our Midnight Sky on everything, and then we're going to use shimmer copper on these, the C, the K, the N, the Q, and the Z. They're just a little bit different style, and that way it kind of gives it a little bit of a accent. So, put this over here for right this second. Hopefully it won't fall on the floor. This is a Chalk Couture. This is a ink mat, and it's sticky. You can see that it's sticky. Okay, what it does is it helps hold down the material so it doesn't slide around as you're doing your inking. That over there. So, and it also keeps the ink from going through the top layer to the bottom layer of your project. Now, that being said, this is a Chalk Couture pillowcase, and it's pretty thick. I've never ever had it bleed through. But I still use ink mats on anytime I ink. I use an ink mat. So, stuck. So this has a zipper. You can see the zipper is hidden well. Even when you have the pillow in it, it's fairly hidden, so you can't see it. Hey Deborah, welcome. So what I do is I fold it like this, because if you fold it the other way, what's going to do is it's going to stick to itself. You're never, ever going to get it apart. I don't care how much hot water or warm water you run over it, it will stick and it's not going to come apart, and you will have to buy a new one. So just remember when you fold it so sticky side is completely on the outside. And I just fold it because it's easier to get in the pillowcase that way, and then I just kind of let it go. Push it in there. And there we go. And then I just flatten it out, get it all smoothed out. Yeah, I didn't wreck a whole one because like the long ones that we have, I cut the ends off because I use them for like kids' clothes or onesies, and it stuck the piece that I took off, stuck it to the bigger piece that I just cut off. So I had to cut that part off. Yeah. So yeah, I've ruined a few too. I mean, I was able to salvage some of that one, but yeah, it's not like transfers where if you run it under warm water, it'll come off. These are uber sticky. Okay, get this all smoothed out. I ironed this. Well, I didn't iron it. I used my heat press on it before I came on. I sprayed it down with some water and then used the heat press on it because when it comes in this package like this. And they're folded up, and what you get when you unfold them is lines and wrinkles. It's like that. So I've known other designers that usually will just flatten it out and it'll work on it, but I've never had the inking success with that. So I've always kind of ironed it a little bit, get some of those fold lines out of there. You do get 2 in a pack when you buy them. And you can do both sides. Most of my pillowcases I will do both sides. I have a few that I've only done one side, but I think it looks better with both sides done. That way when you throw them on your couch or wherever you're throwing them, it doesn't matter which way you're throwing them. So, let's get this going here. Excuse me. And I thought this was cute with kids starting to go back to school. Some college students going back to school. Most of them are going to be homeschooled apparently, but it's still school time. So my kids are adults. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Okay, so when I do a big transfer like this, I always pull the backing off the transfer. The smaller ones, I'll pull the transfer off like that, but I've always found if I pull this off like this, it'll fold up on itself every time. So what I do is I get it started. So I either do it this way and then I pull really quick, or I will flip it like this. And then very, very slowly, especially in the end, pull that off. Because again, I have many times stuck my transfers to themselves by doing that. And it is sticky, but I'm putting it on cloth, so I am not going to fuzz it tonight. So, and you always want to be careful when you pull it up like that. So, like I have the fans going on. Should have been paying attention. I could have very easily had the fan blow it back on itself. Again, when I first started doing this, I always used to, hold on, what's going on over here? I always taped off the ends. This one kind of covers up the whole thing. But every now and then you'll get one and it doesn't cover up everything. I used to I've gotten better where I pay attention to what I'm doing. When I first started, I would be talking and not paying attention, and next thing you know, it's all over the place. And with cloth, you want to make sure it's pushed down. Sorry. There's something in there. I don't know what is going on with that right now. Now my arm is stuck to the mat. Okay. Yeah, that's one. There was like a tag or something on the inside and it was causing it to bulk up. Now some transfers, like I've done before, like the design will come out towards the end, and where it's sewn it has that edging, and it can cause the transfer to kind of lift up and you can get some bleeding. So usually you have to be very careful around these. This one doesn't go all the way to the end, so. But you want to make sure it's all pushed down. Sometimes even on cloth it wants to kind of pull up. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm going to do the blue on most of these, and then I'm going to do the shimmer on the. And with paste, we would normally do what we call a chalk and peel or whatever, where you would chalk some and you would pull it up so it wouldn't dry in the silk screen. Ink isn't going to dry quickly, so I have plenty of playtime. I will be able to do this whole thing without having to pull any of it up, because ink doesn't dry as quickly. So you have a lot more playtime. Been a while since I used that one, but. And my favorite thing in the whole world is I always get ink on my hands, always. I have my little wipes that I always get at the Dollar Tree. Every time I'm in there, I always grab a pack because I go through these like crazy. Hey, Kathy. So I have, when we're done, I have the heat gun. I'm going to heat this, kind of dry a little bit on the front, and then I'm going to plug in my my mini heat press here, and we'll heat set it too. Normally I would let it sit for 24 hours before I heat set it, but I want to kind of show you guys how easy it is to heat set. Okay, so let's start. It's always the right consistency. Ink is, it's always, you don't have to put water in it, you don't have to stir it up. It's always perfect. And you just, same as with the chalk, just drag it through. With ink, I always go in one direction. I never go back and forth, side to side. Try to go in one direction because you do get some kind of lifting sometimes in this. And if you tend to go back and forth, it can cause the bleeding to go up underneath the transfer where it lifts. Trying to get the ink off my paper towels are going crazy over there. The fan's blowing them every which way. And then I start getting lifting. I always make sure that I stop and kind of pull up, and because like I said, with this, it always tends to, I don't know why, it always kind of lifts a little bit. Just that you'll see it kind of, and you just want to make sure that you're keeping it flat. Another trick I learned by doing this, and that it's okay to kind of lift it up and readjust it before you ink in it. Trying to make sure I don't ink in the wrong letters, screw it up, because I have a plan. My plan should have been, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the, this and do the letters that I want. That way I don't accidentally mess it up. Nice. Push that down. And this is the Shimmer Copper ink. I didn't have gold, I had silver or copper, and I thought copper would show up better. Let me get that ink off of there. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope we're all doing well. Week is half over. Just seems like I went to work and it's already Thursday coming on. Ooh. Okay. There we go. Hi, Christine. Hi, Linda. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. I got ink on me already. Told ya. Okay, so let's finish the rest of the letters out. Pushing that down. You don't want to press too hard when you're inking. You want to get it in there, but you don't want it to get, you want to press so hard that it seeps into the fabric and kind of causes any kind of bleeding. So okay, I'm gonna have to lift this up a little. Now, if you weren't in here before, the reason I'm lifting it up is when I pull the ink through, sometimes it causes the transfer to kind of lift up, and then if I don't want it, if I don't keep it flat, it can cause bleeding, and I really don't want bleeding. So just lifting it up and kind of repositioning it and flattening it down. And sometimes I end up doing that a few times throughout inking. You just don't want to lift it all the way up. You want to make sure you're just lifting up that little bit of area there. And now I have blue fingers because I stuck that all the way in there. And again, with ink, you have a lot more playtime, so you don't have to rush. You do, however, like when chalk, sometimes you'll see me just like stick it to the end of the table, and I'm like, oh, I'll wash it off when I'm done. With ink, I always make sure I have my tub of water here next to me because I want to get it into the water, because when I pull that out, there's not a lot of ink on it. It will dry a lot quicker. I don't want it drying. I don't want it drying in the silk screen because it can clog it if it dries in it. So I always make sure I have that tub of water so I can put it right in there, and that keeps it from drying out in there. So as soon as I get off, I can get it in the sink and get it cleaned off. Where the chalk can basically sit overnight if it needs to. I don't like doing that simply because I like to take care of my stuff, but chalk is water soluble, so it'll come right out with water, where ink is permanent and it won't. Oops, I'm crazy there. Okay, I'm gonna make sure my fingers don't have any ink on them before I go lifting this up one more time. Almost done. Okay, so then when you are done, you want to make sure you are looking to make sure that you got all those areas, because you can see, usually you can see where you haven't caught. Like right up here, I kind of missed a spot. And it's just much easier than trying to lay it back down once you've lifted it off to get it in that perfect spot. Right there. I think it looks good. Put that in there. I'm going to wipe my hands off. I'm going to put these inks away before I lift this up. I'm going to put them away. I'm going to put the lid on them. Again, with paste, just like inks, you want to make sure you put that, don't waste any of it. And inks always have the white lids, where chalk always has the black lids. And the inks also say ink on them, and chalk says chalk on them, so. Okay. Are you ready? Hi, Molly. Hi, Alyssa. You guys ready to see the magic? I'm going to pull it this way. And then I always pull it off slowly, because that way if I did miss a spot, then I can lay it back down and go over it. And also, if you pull too fast, it causes the fibers to pull up, and it can cause fuzzing, or like a fuzzy look. Ready? You guys ready? Boom. Again, fold it so the sticky side is out. Put it in the water. Stick it in the water. And I just kind of push it down in there so it's all getting wet there. Maybe. Okay, let me dry this really quick with my heat gun. It's not going to dry it completely, but it'll get the stickiness off from it. Hi, Shannon. I'm going to turn my, I don't have a regular heat press. I do have this mini one. Works just as well. Takes a little longer, but it works just as well. The mini heat press I won is an incentive from my upline. They have contests all the time, and I won that. I won it about 5 months ago. Well, it's actually a little longer now. It was right before, you know, the world went crazy. So, I use it all the time. Love it. And I'm just kind of drying this because I'm going to be putting parchment paper over this. And if it's still a little wet, it can cause it to smudge, and I don't want it to do that. So I want it to get it kind of a little drier. This is not how you heat set it. You have to heat set it with either a regular iron or the heat press. And what it'll heat press it, it'll set it so you can iron this, or got ironing on the brain. So you can wash this many times as you need it, and it'll be fine. I have noticed though, if you wash this, don't throw these in the dryer. I threw the one in the dryer and it's got wrinkles in it, and I'm having a hard time getting them out. So the other ones that when I wash them, I just hang them up to dry. They're much easier to kind of iron any kind of wrinkles out if I need to. We're doing good. This went down here. Okay. Over there. Now I need to find my. There's my parchment paper. All underneath everything, of course. I'll get a new piece. And I buy the ones that are pre-cut like this, that are square. I don't buy the roll, because the roll, it's hard to get them. They like roll up, and it's hard to get them to unroll itself. So this will help. This will do half, and then we'll do the other half. So heat press is usually used for the regular heat press from Priget. It's $3.50 for 30 seconds. A regular an iron is usually whatever the fabric calls for, so usually about a medium heat because most fabrics are cotton. Then you do 4 minutes on each side. And what I mean by each side is the front, and then you would flip it inside out. The heat gun, or brain. The heat press, I only do the outside. I don't flip it inside out anymore. So I just kind of go over it. And when it's tacky like this, you can feel it. Even after it's sat for like 24 hours to dry, it still has this tackiness to it. Once it's heat set, it'll be smooth. It just feels so smooth, like it's totally part of the fabric itself. So usually I'll just do this and then I'll kind of lift it up. It's going to be extremely hot. Oh shoot, I'm an idiot. I hope I didn't ruin it. Don't ever do it with this in there. Woo, I got lucky. Okay, don't ever do that. That's a no-no. I'm surprised it didn't melt it. Okay, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. And then I'm going to put this underneath, because otherwise it'll warp my mat there. Okay. Now I need a new one of these. Okay, back loose. I got a new one because the ink was still a little damp and the other one had ink on it. And if I laid that back down, the ink would have gotten on there. So this is why I normally will let it sit for 24 hours to like air dry too. So anyway, that was kind of freaky. Why is it off now? I gotta let it's supposed to be green. I gotta wait for it to heat back up. Hi, Mary. Oh, I've been good. How you been? Thanks, Molly. Oh, there we go. Back to green. My shirt is one that I did too. It's one of my favorite shirts. It's one of my favorite transfers. Okay, so this will, I always put the towels under here, but it's still, the heat press will kind of it'll get the mat here, and it kind of warps it a little bit. But once the heat goes away from the mat, it tends to relax back down. First time I did that, I thought I ruined it. I'm like, I need one of those little mini ironing boards for my table. I'm glad you're doing good. Okay. A little warm still. Okay, it can use a little bit more heat. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to let this sit a little bit more. Just wanted to show you how it was actually done. The X had some ink on it. It kind of smeared on the outside of the X. So basically what I can do is I can take some of my white, and problem is it's bright white, so I'll have to mix it with a little bit of my brown just to kind of give it that off-white look, and kind of just take my paintbrush and go around just ever so lightly. And that's only if I want to. If I was selling this, I would either do that and see if I can fix it, or I would totally redo a different one. This more likely is going to probably stay in the house or outside or go to a friend, I don't know. So this is the project. How easy is that? You can ink. Like I said, I ink everything except for porcelain. I don't do it anymore because I have found that even heat setting it in the oven, it tends to, after a few washes and stuff, to start coming off. So I've stopped doing it altogether unless it's something for me. But as far as selling it and my business, I don't do that no more. So the only way I can see doing porcelain is to have some kind of food grade glaze like they do when they do pottery, but I don't have a kiln, I don't have any of that stuff, so it's just, I'm not doing it. You can do it for like show pieces, like if you want to do it on a plate and it's hanging on a wall as a decoration, but as far as something that you're going to use, it's like a coffee mug or something, I just, no. Stop doing them. But I do ink shirts, pillowcases, pot holders, onesies. I did a Levi's jacket for my, she's my niece by my best friend. She's her daughter's grandson. I did, and I inked on the back of that, it said, stay little man. So, I mean, just anything you could think of that's cloth you could ink on. I know a lot of people now are doing the masks. They have like the different colored masks, like plain colored masks, and they'll ink on those. Yeah. Socks. You want to be able to, something that you can heat set with an iron or a heat press. So if it's like a polyester or something that you might think that might melt, you might not want to do that. So it has to be able to be heat set to work. Any questions, guys? Imperfections are proof that it's homemade and gives it character. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, it does. They said it was fine until I put that thing on there and I didn't realize that it didn't get dry. There must have been a big glob there, but it's really not that bad, honestly. But when it comes to things that I sell, as far as on, you know, with my business, my SD and all that kind of stuff, it has to be perfect for me. I suppose I could do a page that has imperfection ones. People can buy those. So anyway, I'm going to hop off here so I can get this cleaned up so I can get ready for work tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do, I showed you this bag the other night. I have a whole bag of fall stuff that I got from Dollar Tree and from Joann's Fabrics. And let me see what I did. This is a pumpkin. It's from the Dollar Tree. It's just a really thin board, and we are going to decoupage. I didn't bring the napkin. I have some napkins I had last year from Thanksgiving, and they have some pumpkins on them. So we're going to do decorations around here, and then we're going to put the pumpkins. We're going to paint it first, put the decoupage on it, then I'm going to get one of my fall transfers, and we'll put like a saying in the center here. We'll take the raffia off. We'll put it back on, but we're going to take it off to do all that first. And maybe make a bow for it. I am not a bow maker. Not at all. I've tried. I've done different ways of doing it, and they turn out okay, but you know, not the best. So I finally broke down. They have what they call the bow dobra, and then they have this easy bow, and I did some research on both of them, and this one looks like it was the easiest. It's the Easy Bow Maker. I ordered it off Amazon, and it came. These dowels comes with a dowel for here, a smaller one here, and then these two. I'm not sure if I'll use this. This is where you put your spool of ribbon so you can use it. We'll see. These you kind of have to hammer them in, but they still wouldn't stay, so I hot glued them to the bottom. So hopefully they'll stay in there. So we will use this maybe tomorrow and see how talented I can be using, you know, that. So tomorrow we're going to do this. See how that works. And I think maybe, because I bought these two, it's like they're wood beads, all different kinds of sizes. We'll paint them or stain them, and then this string here, we'll get a bigger string and we'll make a bead for that. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how much time we have after we get everything done there. Maybe not those. Turn this off. Okay. Any questions you have before I head out? Thank you, Shannon. I really like the way it turned out too. It took me a while to pick out the colors. I knew I wanted to use the shimmer copper, but I couldn't figure out I was going to do black, and I'm like, no. I was trying to pick out fall colors, so dark blue and copper were kind of fall colors. But I really like the way it turned out too. So I'm anxious. I'm going to eventually do the back side the same way. I'm going to do it with the same coloring, same thing, because I like to have pillows the same on the front and back. So anyway, and then I will talk to you all tomorrow. Hopefully I won't get a headache like I did tonight. That's why I was late getting on. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Be kind to one another. God bless. Bye.